He's angry about mortgages. It's Angry Mortgage. He's swearing. He's cursing loud. He's old. He's opinionated. And he's been doing this so damn long. This program is about mortgages, and this is mortgage advice, but the advice may not apply to your situation. Contact licensed mortgage professionals for specific recommendations before you make decisions about mortgages. You may not agree with Ron, but if you don't, he thinks you're wrong. Oh, and did we say there is a lot of swearing?
Welcome to the Angry Mortgage Podcast. We're back.
And exceptionally angry, I feel.
Yeah, we're going to be really, really angry at the Bank of Canada. Goddamn bastard. Anyway, mainly we're going to do the fraud show. I promised the fraud show. We're going to do the mortgage fraud show today. But
Yes.
we're going to shake things up, take things out of order. By the way, we got a new camera angle going today. You saw that, right?
Not a big fan, but okay.
Not a big fan? Okay.
Not a big fan.
So I'm also worried about it because my pants are now very clear in the shot.
Yeah.
And this is going to completely eliminate the no pants days.
No Pants Tuesdays are gone now.
They're gone.
Shit.
Yeah. No, they're all they're totally gone.
No, well, you win some, you lose some.
So apparently you were mad at me about something that happened this week.
Oh, I heard you'd be cheating on me.
Yeah, I was cheating on you with two special guests. It's true. I'm
Interesting. We're gonna
disloyal guy, a disloyal guy. But look, when the guests show up, I ambushed both of them. You would be happy to know they were both totally ambushed. They had no explanation. They just came here to have lunch, and I just grabbed their asses, put them in the chair, and did a podcast. So it was not their intention at all. I ambushed them. So,
okay. All right. Well, it better be.
Take some solace in that. It's like if you caught your husband in bed with your sister. He could say, no, I don't know what happened. I just tripped over a slipper and fell in her. Okay. You can try that one. All right. But that's also doesn't work at all.
No, it's not going to work out.
It doesn't work at all.
Not going to work out.
Do you think after I said that, a couple of the more elderly podcast listeners fainted at that, risque story? No. Okay.
No,
all right.
not at all.
We feel safe about that.
No.
All right. So yes, the fraud show. This is the fraud show. I promised it. We're doing it. Mm-hmm. But I have to move around the format of the show for the sake of the announcement.
And we're going straight into
what the actual fuck happened.
Insanity. The country is on fire.
Literally on fire. Okay?
These rates are a huge fucking dumpster fire.
Yeah. And the Bank of Canada says, country on fire. We need to raise the rate right now. Holy shit. What's with TEF? What do you think, Mr. Macklin? There is a very robust employment and the economy grew, but it doesn't look like it's growing anymore. And every successful, smart, effective economist is saying the recession's around the corner. What do you think, Mr. Macklin? I think we should raise the rates. I don't know if he talks like that, but I'm going to pretend he talks like that. Okay. Yeah. Let's raise the rate. So they raised the rate. Look, there was the bond market had priced in about a 45% chance of it. And, but here's, first of all, it's bad because, and there's a group of people who say, no, it's not bad. We want to see all the price of houses. It's got to go down. So we need higher and higher rates. Give us 8%. No, dude, you don't want 8%. You do not want it. Okay. That is not smart. All right. So here's what I feel. I feel that it's just people who've already taken a beating on their variable rate take more of a beating.
We're beating a dead horse at this point.
Well, for some, unfortunately. For some, I talked to some people in the last 4 weeks, who've talked about the fact that, if it goes up again, I'm just going to have to sell.
Wow.
I'm just at the edge. I'm at the edge thinking about selling.
I
know it does go up. You know people, right? So that's my, seriously, what the actual fuck? Was it necessary? There's a whole school of thought that says it is, that's he's only got one job. Bank of Canada governor has only one job: get inflation down. Okay.
Yeah.
And it took a tiny bump up, and the Australian central bank raised its rate 0.25%. Looks like the U.S. Fed's going to go up 0.25% next meeting. Pretty much a mortal lock. That's going to happen. Mm-hmm. So obviously he felt he had to make the move, but
everything's crazy now. And I'm just starting to realize, like, obviously I'm familiar with the mortgage rates because of here in this place.
Yeah.
I'm car shopping right now because my car was stolen.
Yeah, they grabbed your car, they broke into your house, grabbed your purse, took the car keys with it, and
drove away
with your Mercedes.
Yeah, fantastic. Car shopping right now, the rates are insane. Absolutely insane. And it's, I didn't realize how much everything was affected, not just mortgage rates. You know what I mean? Because when you're not car shopping, you don't car shop every week or every month.
Car shop every 3 or 4 years, maybe.
Yeah,
that's it.
Oh my God, yeah.
Unless somebody steals your car.
No, we're looking at 7.5.
Holy
for a lease rate.
Shite. Oh, Lord.
When I got the car, I was at, I think 2.29.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. It's affected everything. It's so crazy. And now, so this was last time I test drove. What's it going to be when I go to now?
Worse? It's going to be worse now.
Where the hell are we going to be at now?
Look, I mean,
my God.
You actually just pointed out a really, really important thing about what the Bank of Canada is doing.
Huh?
You pointed out that it only affects some people sometime. And sometimes it affects nobody for the whole time. Mm-hmm. You got a fixed rate mortgage, you got a paid for car, you got no mortgage. Let's say you're one of those lucky people, no mortgage, no car payment, no nothing. You just laugh about this stuff. Poor bastards with the mortgages are screwed.
But those are the same people that benefit from the crazy market, because the only people that benefited from the 2020 market, in my opinion, was Nona, who sold her house to go move into a condo in Florida.
You're not wrong.
No.
But that's not the only person. There was others. But look, let's just sum it up. Really bad news for people who are in the middle of this thing, like you, who got to find a new car, like you, who have a variable rate mortgage, people who have a HELOC, home equity line of credit. That's now, get this, the average HELOC, which was 2.95 a year ago, now 7.45.
Yeah, there you go.
And you pay that whole thing. The payment is interest only. Mm-hmm. So if you had a $500 a month payment on the same balance a year ago, you're $1,100 and change now.
Yep.
Like, what?
The actual fuck.
That's it. And and the bottom line is, I'm doing TikTok now. Do you know I'm doing TikTok now?
I saw my son doesn't stop. He's tracking it. I get hourly updates of
so what 12-year-olds tracking this thing.
Yeah, he's so thrilled. I get texts throughout the day. He's supposed to be at school, and I'm getting a text. ODB. Sorry, that's some people's step grandson calls you Gramps or Grandpa or something. When I first got together with Evan, I said, I don't know if I'm a grandpa guy, but you could call me old dirty bastard. How about that one? ODB,
so ODB
but he's thrilled. He's like, ODB's at 20,000. Yeah. ODB's at 30,000. I'm getting texts throughout the day. He's obsessed with it.
A TikTok is a completely different thing than a podcast or Twitter. It's really different. We're going to try it out. We're going to see what happens.
I thought it was pretty funny.
We hope people like it. And it is one thing about it is allows you to get messages out really quickly, like short bursts, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes.
For sure.
And hopefully people hear the message, and that's all we care about.
You should try MySpace.
MySpace? Yeah, perfect. Okay. Why don't we go with OnlyFans next?
OnlyFans.
We're going with OnlyFans. I mean,
well, shit, these rates keep going up. I'm going to have to start showing pictures of my feet. I'm going to have to tell Will I need pedicures on now a bi-weekly basis, very religiously, because we'll be selling feet pics soon. Jesus.
I mean, we're just falling into a pit here. Like we've gone from tripped over your slippers and fell into your sister. And then we got,
we're on
OnlyFans now. And we got the feet pictures. Holy Jiminy Crickets. All right. So finish up on the Bank of Canada increase. Tiff, hope you're right. Hope it was needed. But I got a bunch of really smart economists. One of my really favorite economists, Frances Donald, Manulife. She runs chief economist for Manulife World Financial. She's just hammering on this. Like this was likely very unnecessary. The recession is coming anyway. It was locked in. Recession locked in. So you just want to make it harder on people?
It's just the bullet in the head, I guess.
Well,
I don't know.
Anyway, not crazy about it. But of course, if inflation is finally wrestled to the ground, probably by a recession that was coming anyway, we're 100% sure Tiff Macklin, the Bank of Canada, will claim all the credit for it. If I hadn't raised that 0.25%, I don't know if it sounds like this. I don't pay attention. But,
he's got a new voice every time he says it.
Yeah, it's got to change all the time. All right, now let's jump to the meat of the program, which is the fraud show.
Okay.
And just for all you mortgage brokers out there who are new, who are looking for a new angle, we are not going to teach you how to do fraud. Okay, that is not the point here.
It's not an instructional video.
No, it's definitely not how to. It's the opposite of how to. It's how to stop it. How to stop mortgage fraud. Let's break it down. There's just really two categories to mortgage fraud. And I'm going to spend 99% of the time talking about mortgage document fraud as opposed to mortgage fraud for profit. So let's touch on mortgage fraud for profit. Mortgage fraud for profit is almost entirely title fraud. So we had a little blaze of title fraud here in the GTA about 3-4 months ago. There was a whole, and that's the way it always goes. There's always a string of them at once because organized crime used to be all the Russian mob. That may have changed a little bit, but organized crime, they do it in bursts because they know that the law society and the title insurers will figure it out quick. So if they just do one a month, they're doomed. They're only going to get like 1 or 2 in. But if they do 12 in a 6-week period or 12 in a 4-week period, that's what they do.
Yeah, just in and out.
So what's title fraud? Title fraud is when you pretend to own a house you don't own. That's title fraud. You pretend to own a house you don't own. You sell it. You go to a legitimate lawyer because you have established your bona fides as the owner. And let's face it, nobody's better at fake ID than the Russian mob. They are the best. They are the absolute best. Don't get me wrong, the Chinese mob, good too. But you notice I'm being really politically correct and not saying the mafia. Okay? Like, I mean...
What is the politically correct?
What is the politically correct thing about crime, right? Like, what is it? I was just
watching a documentary on Al Capone. Is it the organization or something? The
outfit.
The outfit.
The outfit.
We'll call it the outfit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to be very, very politically correct because, as you know, Natalie, I spend my life trying to be politically correct.
Yes.
And only say the right thing.
Of course.
That I'm well known for that.
Yes.
And no, I won't say the mafia, but there is Chinese organized crime. It's just true. Just is what it is. There is a Russian mob. God damn it. There's whole movies about him, for God's sakes. I mean,
for sure.
You know, that was my favorite Equalizer was when he took on the Russian mob. That was the first one. I loved that one. Denzel. I know you like Denzel.
Everybody loves Denzel.
Everybody loves Denzel. All women love Denzel, but yeah, I think so. Well, all women love Jason Momoa. We know this.
Yes, we've discussed this in episode 2.
Many times we've talked about Jason. But the bottom line is, how does it work? Okay, you need pristine, perfect, unimpeachable ID to do title fraud. Okay. So here's what they did lately. They discovered something that I've known about for about 7 or 8 years now. I don't know, for a long time, there's a bunch of properties in Toronto that are not occupied. Like there's nobody lives in them at all, whether it's an expensive condo or a single family house, wherever it is. The people came from another country, bought the place, and left. Okay. There's nobody in them. Now there's a empty homes tax that started up. So that will probably effectively deal with that issue, but they're out there. So somehow the organized criminals we'll quit being ethnic now. We'll just call them the organized criminals.
Sure.
They discover an empty home. They discover a home where the owner's gone. They're not there. And they say, well, let's see if we can locate some version of their ID. Now, I don't know how they do it. Like, I honest to God don't know how they do it, but they do it.
Like through the mailbox, maybe?
No, I don't know how, but because it's ID, like it's perfect quality driver's licenses. Like it is. Whoever
occupying a house, you don't just leave your.
No, you don't leave your ID. I said, I don't completely know how they do the ID side of it, but I know it's not hard to find out. If you can find an empty house that you can absolutely be sure that the owner is not there and not coming back anytime soon, It's simple to find the owner's name. It's public record.
Oh, I can do it in 35 seconds.
You can do it in 35 seconds.
Easy.
Easy. So public record to get the name. If you want to dig a little harder, you can even look at the birth dates. Okay, you can find it out. But bottom line is, when you found the person, you have to delve into the way to get that fake ID going. That's the critical issue.
Well, they just need a name, and they can make a fake ID. It doesn't have to be in the house.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like some lawyers actually use software that checks the driver's license number and confirms it. So that software exists. That software absolutely exists. So, but as I said before, these criminals are really good at what they do. Mm-hmm. So they create perfect ID. They tell a real estate agent, "Here, I've decided to sell the house." Real estate agent collects ID. You know you have to collect ID. You're a realtor.
Do your due
diligence.
Yeah.
And he's the owner. She's the owner. It's good. Let's list it. Boom, boom, sells. House is sold, and they always check to make sure the house is free and clear. They make sure it's a free and clear house. So when the house sells, they're going to get every penny of proceeds.
Oh, lovely.
And by the way, and the mortgage company might do a little diligence if there was a mortgage. So it's always a free and clear, empty house.
Yeah.
That was the scam. Did a bunch of them at once, and boom, there were like millions of dollars disappeared over the course of about 3 weeks. Wow. So that's title fraud. And again, it only comes in bursts because the title insurance company, what's title insurance? Title insurance is to guard against this kind of thing, to say that that insures the lawyer, insures everyone in the transaction, that the investigation has been done on the ID, that it's been done well.
Yeah.
And it does a whole ton of other things. It's everybody should have it, and all lenders require it. So I'm saying
if it's free and clear, it doesn't have that insurance.
Well, no, that's true too. That's true. Yeah. You can get it, by the way. You could go directly to the title insurance company and get it yourself. It's possible for individuals to get title insurance. It's mainly lenders, but it's possible for individuals. Mm-hmm. So to finish up, that's just stolen money. Now, the important question is, the people whose money is stolen, the people whose house was sold illegitimately, what happens to them? Right? Yeah. Okay, I have the answer. The answer is, under the law in Ontario, it must be returned to its rightful owner in the case of title fraud. That is the law. It takes time. It's a pain in the ass, but that is the law on the books. So you might say, well, what about the people? What about the people who bought the house and gave the down payment? I mean, that is the total. Now, they actually have some title insurance on their side on the down payment thing. Yeah. The people who take the hit is the bank. The bank takes the hit and the title insurer, but the title insurer pays off the bank. Sorry, the bank does not take a hit. If there's a mortgage, the bank does not take a hit. Who takes the hit? Title insurer takes every bit of it. Every single bit of it. The title insurer gets completely destroyed on that one. Okay. Mm-hmm. And there's about 5 big ones in the province right now. Probably 5 big ones in Canada. Okay. And they take a tremendous hit, but it only happens in bunches. Then they change their algorithms, they change their systems, they tweak what they do, they tell lawyers they have to do a bit of extra legwork, and there's no more, that scam stops. That stops. Okay, so that's...
Until somebody else figures it out.
Correct. So somebody figures out a new mousetrap, figures out something new, okay? But this is the last bad run. We went about 4 years with very little title fraud, and then this big burst on these empty homes. Okay, I think there was like 12 or more of them at once. Wow. Okay, so it was big money. But yeah, the original owner gets their house back, the bank gets their money back, the people who put down payment get their money back, and the title insurance company just gets creamed. Okay, wow. So that's why you need title insurance, folks. Next time you ask, why am I paying $1,000 for this title insurance? Just pay it.
Just
in
case.
Just
you
pay it.
Okay. Know you need insurance until you need it.
That's it. That's all. That's the way it works. All right. So what is the bulk of mortgage fraud in Canada? It's income document fraud. That's what it is. That is been going on for as long as I've been in the mortgage business. 29 years. Been going on. What's the purpose of it? I'll tell you. The purpose of it is for people who have income that doesn't work for the mortgage. Like there's either like too many of them with part-time jobs. There's it's just for whatever reason, the income doesn't work for a best rate mortgage. Like it might work for an alternative lender. It would probably work no problem at all for a private lender. But particularly if you want to put like 5 or 10% down, It's a CMHC insured mortgage. It's an insured mortgage with Sagen, CG.
Ratios are tighter.
All the rest, yeah.
And then qualifying.
Ratios, title.
And then also these high qualifying rates that we have now too.
Stress test, yeah.
Stress test.
Yeah.
That was a game changer when that first came in. What you qualified
Absolutely.
for one day, you did not the next day.
Absolutely. So when you combine people who have somewhat unusual income, it may be self-employed income where they show very little income. It may be just a whole bunch of people in the family with part-time jobs that are pretty steady, but they change them. Like, for instance, if you're a security guard, you might change companies on a fairly regular basis. You might even go like a week between security jobs.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to pin those things down. A bunch of other things, but that's what it really sums up as people who want to buy a house. They want to get the best rate from a bank or other type of prime lender.
Yeah, because if you don't have to go alternative, you don't want to because those rates are even higher.
Yeah, nobody wants to go alternative.
Yeah.
No, nobody wants. It's the ultimate truth about people wanting to buy a house. They want the best possible rate, and that's what it's all about. People with unusual income. Or not even unusual, but just not the kind of income that banks want to use based on their rules.
Yeah.
And those rules are there's a reason for them. There's a reason there's those rules. Because those rules pay off. And we have 16 beeps of default in this country. I mean, we have consistently low default in our chartered banks and our other institutional lenders. And that's one of the reasons, because they're careful about income. So sum it up. Income doesn't really work, but they want that house. And they may want that house with only 10% down.
And desperate to get it because everyone needs somewhere to live.
Okay, so that's a great point. So let's address that. Desperate to get it. Now, the first thing I want to say is, and I'm going to talk about more of the reasons why I am so goddamn opposed to this stuff and have been for a while. And I'm vocal about it within our industry. But first of all, I want to talk about the people themselves. The people who are doing this income document fraud. Now, some of it is really, really shitty. What I mean by that is it's speculators, it's landlords who are trying to buy more houses than they should.
The bone collectors.
The who?
Bone collectors.
What the hell's a bone collector?
They pick up everything they can.
What?
They're just collectors of bones. I don't know.
Boy, that
Never heard that before.
That one came right out of left field. I was unfamiliar with that.
All right.
They
pick the bones of the corpses. All
right.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay, it has a bad connotation. I'll give you that much. But let's say I want to break this down. There's a group of people who only want to take advantage of the situation. They're landlords. They're speculators. They just want to buy 10 rental properties and their income doesn't work for it. But maybe if they can buy the right property, then they're going to screw with it and illegally change it so that there's more and more people in it. Or they're going to just do the horrible stuff where we have so many students today, international students here in universities today. We're going to do a show about how effed up it's an Angry March. We're going to do a show about how fucked up some of these universities are, trying to drag in as many people as humanly possible and providing zero fucking housing for them.
I should
zero.
take a video of me showing a student house. You'd be
you've seen them. You've seen them.
Shocked.
It's so bad. It's just so bad. Yeah. So
there's some good ones out there, but there is some shocking situations. Anyways, that's another show.
That's another show. So that's the student housing show. So. Yeah. But let's say those people I am particularly pissed off at. These people who just want to buy more and more rentals using fake documents. Like they got their 18-year-old kid buying a rental because he's they create a job letter that he's been a site superintendent at a construction firm for the last 2 years and he's making $180,000 a year. Is all just sheer bullshit. Okay. Yeah. But those are the ones I'm mad at. Okay. Those are the people who are just purely taking advantage of the system. I'm really mad at them. I'm mad at all of the document fraud, but that's the worst. That's the scummiest, worst shit. And we see it all the time. See it all the time. Greedy motherfuckers. Okay. Now, the people I'm a little bit less upset with, but I'm still goddamn dead set against, are the people who think, God, I just want to own a house in this town.
I just want to stop paying rent.
And and this stress test thing is, I just want to stop paying rent. I just want to stop. I somehow scraped together 5% down and on a $500,000 condo.
Which is hard to do.
It's hard to do. and I just want, but you know, a little bit of part-time income over there, a little bit of not been working the same job long enough.
And those are normally the people that are hustling. They have 2-3 jobs and they hustle their asses off.
Yes.
And then the income still gets in the way. They're like, I work 100 hours a week. Why can't I own a house? You know, if you feel for them, it's not right. But like you're saying, you do feel for them.
I feel for them a bit, but still, I'm still dead against it.
Of course.
And here's the other thing that I think is not properly portrayed, although the CBC Marketplace did a documentary on this back in October.
Yeah, that was wild.
It was wild. And it was all predicated by real estate agents. Like the villains of the piece were real estate agents. They were the people saying, I will get you a mortgage. Oh, everybody, the bank tells me I don't qualify. Don't worry, you're getting it. We're going to put a little salt and pepper on it, little turmeric, little cumin, and we're going to get you a mortgage. Okay, you will get it. I guaranteed we'll get you a mortgage. Just line up. We'll get it. We know how to do it. So those are the people I'm really, really mad at. The bad realtors who are doing this, and that's a small group, but it exists.
It's a small group that make the rest of us look like shit.
There you are. And the same here on the mortgage brokerage side. Like, you can't believe the number of times that people just on Twitter or on TikTok, whatever, you're just one of these scummy fucking mortgage brokers. You're doing fraud all the time. You couldn't make a living without fraud. Well, yeah.
Well, we do.
Yeah, but like, it's the reputation.
Yeah,
and
it is.
Let's face it, if it wasn't happening, we wouldn't have the reputation. But the real truth is, here's the bad part right now. That's all bad, but here's the combination of interesting and bad. Realistically, bank road reps are doing more fraud than mortgage brokers. Don't get me wrong. Mortgage brokers still doing a ton. But, when I am able to have a candid conversation with the people who are really in the know on this stuff at the banks, they'll say things like, on a per capita basis, our own commission sales force does more of it than any mortgage broker does. Okay. And don't get me wrong, they're against it. A lot of people say stupid shit like that. Oh, the banks know all about it. The whole real estate system would collapse. The banks want it. They want to keep it going. They do not goddamn want to keep it going.
No.
Okay? Like, that is untrue. Banks hate reputational risk, and that's what this is all about. It's all about reputation. If you're a banker, a road rep of a bank, if you're a commissioned sales agent for mortgages at a bank, and you do a ton of fraud and get caught and it's publicized, that's really, really bad for the reputation of the bank.
Very bad.
Very, very bad. And banks hate that. And let me tell you why. I want everybody to listen hard to this one. You know why banks hate it so much? Because they'll make just as much profit without it. So they hate reputational impact. They goddamn hate it, okay? They don't want it. They will do without it. They don't want any, and particularly when they're paying a commission, they paid that road rep, they paid that mortgage rep a commission.
A commission to drag their name through the mud.
Yes, ma'am. That is exactly correct. So they don't want it. Everybody out there who says, I think the banks are in on it. No, the banks are not in on it. No. Not at all. I don't want, when that thing came out in October, I was sitting in a bar with bankers.
Oh,
and,
really?
Yeah, I was. We were out in Vancouver for a big meeting, big mortgage conference. And when it hit literally the night before the conference started, I'm in the bar. I know it sounds bad. It sounds like bankers and mortgage guys are always drinking, but this was a conference, so people do have a few drinks at a conference. It's in the job
description a little bit.
Look, we're there. I'm there. I'm sitting with bankers. I'm sitting with real big 5 bankers, real executives, and they were so fucking mad. Okay, they were furious. And I've known some of these guys. Yeah, same with the real. And I've known some of these guys for 20 years. I can tell when they're putting it on and they're not, and they were goddamn pissed. Okay, furious about it, furious about the whole thing. So banks don't want mortgage income document fraud. They don't want it. They don't want any part of it. Now, folks, you're probably sitting out there saying, Christ, he's been talking about it for like half an hour or something, but he still hasn't told us, how the hell does this fraud happen? How does it happen? Okay, let's talk about it. And once again, for everybody out there, this is not a tutorial.
Yeah, this is not a manual.
This is not a manual, okay? Not a tutorial. Caught. Yeah, I mean, everybody gets caught eventually, okay? Now, the realtors, it didn't matter because, they just pawned it off on the mortgage guys. And I don't think any of those realtors who were caught on camera proposing fraud, I think they've all probably still got their licenses.
I'd be curious to know.
Yeah, but here's what I'm guessing. I'm guessing if they were fired, they probably were fired, but they probably just broker record turfed their license, but probably just got it with another broker.
Apparently, the broker of record didn't even care. He didn't even return phone calls.
That's what I heard.
I'm familiar with that brokerage. I've done a couple of deals with agents from that particular brokerage that I will not mention.
Yeah.
The most.
See, I would have mentioned it, but Natalie has.
I still have to work in this industry.
She's still got to keep. But also,
nearing.
She can't break her code of conduct. She's not 66. I mean, she can't do it.
I'm not nearing retirement anytime soon, like some people in this room.
Yep. A few of us. Yep. A few of us are just got our pension checks. But go ahead.
Like it was just the most rinky-dink, just bullshit experience I've ever.
Worst brokerage, right?
The worst.
The
worst.
Well, isn't it amazing that the worst brokerage is doing fraud? It actually makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
All right. So again, not a manual, not a tutorial, but how does it work? It works like this. And it's in many cases, it's very, very sophisticated. Just let me tell you how it works. Now, banks have done a lot of analysis on how to stop fraud. Lenders have done a ton of analysis on how to do it. And they've got a lot of things they look at. I'm not going to talk about all the things because that's silly. But I will talk about how sophisticated the fraudsters have gotten. Now, remember, these are all people who are charging money to the consumer to do the fraud for them.
Fraud fee.
There's a fee. Now, what is it? It's typically like 1% of the mortgage, 1% of the purchase price. So it's real money.
Yeah, that's
real money. Like you're buying $1 million house, you're paying like $10,000.
Yeah, that's real money.
So how it's done, the really top-notch ones, they actually seed companies. Oh, that sounds funny. I'll go into it because the banks have a lot of checking systems. The banks have been around and around. These banks are like 150, 200 years old. They know how to look for fraud. So on a very sophisticated basis, they will seed companies. What do I mean by that? They will open up a company, legitimately open a company. It's on the corporate record. It's a legitimate, well, it's meant to do fraud, but as far as the company itself, they paid the fees. They opened a company. 2.5 years ago. 2 years ago, they opened a company. They take that company and they develop a sophisticated social media presence. Comes up in Google, it's been around for a couple of years. Comes up on Facebook, it's been around for a couple of years. Comes up everywhere. That company has existed for a couple of years. Even has a legitimate address. Like if you went to the address, now it's like, like one of those, what's it called?
Satellite office.
What's it called? Regency or something? Like it's where there's an office, but you're just paying for the space, like for the mailbox or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So sometimes they even do more than that. Sometimes they'll rent like 800 square feet for 2 years. Like seriously, they will go to these great lengths, okay?
Wow.
And they'll do no fraud with that for 2 full years. They will let all of the social media presence marinate. They'll keep putting up new stuff every week, every couple days. They got a whole department. None of it based here. It's all based in another country.
Wow.
Fuck it. It's based in India. Okay. Like that's just the truth. They have all the social media being built out in India so that it all looks like there's entries every day. Like the blog post is up to date. Like everything about that company looks legit. You phone the number and a cheerful receptionist answers immediately. Hi, such and such landscaping. How can I help you? And they built. And
I always wondered how they got around the verbal because you need verbal verification.
100%.
Wow.
They figured this out.
Okay.
Now, you wonder why it cost 10 grand? You got people setting a new one up every 2 weeks.
Well, there's some overhead there.
There's some overhead. So they're going to have these guys in India knocking out social media posts, talking about this announcement of this product and a new sales record achieved and like seriously, like if you open up the goddamn website and look for leadership team, there's like real pictures of real people there. Wow. Okay. Now, they're not that real, like they're just sort of stolen identities. But like what I'm saying is it's sophisticated as hell.
Wow.
All right. And seeded, marinated, is like they're vintage companies. We have to wait 2 years till we can start using this one for fraud.
Yeah, that's smart.
Then when it's
evil,
time.
But smart.
Evil but smart. Because there's money. There's real money in it. It's serious. So don't get me wrong. There's some chintzy operations. Like you can go on Reddit and they'll make you up a T4 from India for $8.99. Now, that won't work. I mean, you're just pissing away the $8.99 because lenders are sophisticated. They'll check the company. They'll realize it doesn't exist. It's all bullshit. But seriously, on Reddit, you can buy fake T4s, $8.99, fake T1 Generals. That's your tax filing document. Mm-hmm. Fake T1 Generals, $19.99, $29.99. Oh. Overnight service. Okay, give us 2 days. We'll have a full set to you. Okay, NOAs, another $9.99. Like seriously, it's a friggin' menu of fraudulent documents you can buy. Doesn't work well. Doesn't work at all, mostly, because, again, there's the checking functions. Mm-hmm. But this system by which you will develop a company and start it 2 years ago and create whole social media and a whole Google presence and have the people in place but you're waiting for a critical period. You're waiting for a 2-month period or a 6-week period where you're going to do tons of these. Okay. Now you're going to be careful. You're going to try to make sure they don't all go to the same lender. Yeah. Okay. But you're going to cut loose and do like 15, 18 of them in a 6-week period.
Wow.
And then eventually the bank figures it out. Whoa, wait a minute. This doesn't look right. Or something's going on here. Uh-huh. But they'll get like about 12 of the 18 will go through. And that's what it's all about. Mm-hmm. And again, in a 2-week period, but you might have swept up $200,000 in these fees, right?
Or more, yeah.
And by the way, and then you just junk the company, and the next one that's again been waiting for 2 years, that one comes in. Okay, it's that sophisticated. It's the T4s match that company that's been around for 2 years. You can go back. You can get T1 Generals for 2 years from that company. You get T4s for 2 years. You can average T4s. You can average T1 Generals. It's clear the company's been around that long. Mm-hmm. You've got a beautiful letterhead of a job letter. Yeah. You know, so-and-so is making $122,000 a year, valued employee.
And someone's answering the call.
Someone's answering the call. When you call the job letter, yes, this is XYZ company. How can I help you? Mm-hmm. Yes, is the HR manager Mr. Herman Dingelmeyer? Mm-hmm. Yes, Mr. Dingelmeyer is here. Could you just hold? I'll see if he's available. And boom, they put you through to Dingelmeyer, who is... he's on the website. He's right there on the website as the HR. He's the signing person on the letter, and he's been trained how to sound like an HR manager. Like, for instance, if the people on the phone say, yes, we'd like you to confirm the income of Mary Tway Contrary, Herman will say, well, it's inappropriate for me to just tell you what her income is. You're supposed to say to me that the income is an amount, and I am supposed to confirm it. That is how the Privacy Act works. So they're like human resources, goddamn legit experts, okay? Yeah. It is the purest good-looking thing in the world. Wow. They rarely use ADP or Ceridian because it's not too hard to check that. But by the same token, if they're just doing this 18-unit blast and then they're shutting the company down, they might use Ceridian or ADP. In other words, they might use legitimate payroll service pay stubs to back it up. And by the way, this stuff is perfect. It's absolutely perfect. If you handed it to Ceridian and the Ceridian expert would look at it, works there, would look at it and said, unless I check these numbers to confirm, unless I check like the payroll number I'm seeing here to actually put it in the computer, I can't say that this is not a Ceridian pay stub.
Really? Okay? That's so crazy.
That's fucking good.
Wow.
Okay. So that's the story of income document fraud. At the high levels, it's almost impenetrable.
Wow.
Now, they fuck up eventually. Eventually it happens. But first thing you might say to yourself is, well, Ron, why the Christ aren't they chasing these people down? Why aren't the cops going after them? Like, these people are actually selling T4s on Reddit. Like, what's going on? Okay. This should be easy to stop.
No, that's like finding a needle in a haystack.
Well, here's the worst news. There is no police force in Canada that will take a complaint on mortgage document fraud.
What?
Yeah. They will, by the way, they will work the shit out of that title fraud I told you, that fraud for profit, that title fraud I told you, where they sell somebody's house that doesn't belong to them.
Yeah.
The cops will go wild on that. There'll be a task force. There'll be multiple people assigned. They will go after it. There'll be a crown prosecutor. Crown prosecutor's going after that like a son of a bitch. Okay. Mm-hmm. That doesn't happen with mortgage document fraud.
That's probably something that needs to be looked into, for God's sake.
Well, we've been talking, it's been a whole 29 years that the cops refused to look at it. And I'm now going to tell you why. Because they say, where's the damage? Show it, because for it to be true fraud, for us to investigate fraud, you have to show us where somebody took somebody's money. You have to show us there's been a loss. What is the loss that's been experienced? And there's no loss. I'm now going to tell you the sickest thing about mortgage document fraud. It's the thing that it's hard to believe, but it's just the truth. Mm-hmm. There was a big incident of mortgage document fraud with a major alternative lender about 6 years ago. Okay, there was just a huge number discovered, all by one brokerage, which is still licensed, by the way. Okay, so these dirty sons of bitches at this brokerage did this astronomical amount of mortgage document fraud with just the one lender.
Okay,
and it was discovered. And when it was discovered, the lender put together a task force within their own organization to review every single file as to whether it was fraudulent or whether it was legitimate, and to identify those fraudulent people and ensure they were not renewed. Okay, to really, or in some cases to call their mortgages.
So they just call the mortgage in?
Not always. Okay, mostly it went to renewal.
Well, I guess if these people are paying.
Well, that was the point I tried to make. At the end of this incredibly in-depth audit, huge audit, like every single file in that department was audited. There were the legit ones and there were the fraud ones. The fraudulent document mortgage book, we'll call it a book. The fraudulent document portfolio, the fraudulent book, had a slightly better default rate than the totally honest book.
Well, when you've just paid thousands of dollars to get fake documents to finally get a mortgage, in some cases, you're not going to fuck it up, I guess. You're going to make sure that's the first thing paid.
Well, the other truest thing is that the type of people that did this are by and large what you said. They're hustlers.
Yeah.
They value owning a home. They went through a lot of trouble to do it. They will bust their balls
to keep their home.
Wow. And make the payments on time. So I'm just putting it out there. This is the most in-depth analysis of mortgage fraud that's ever been done. And in the end, the mortgage document fraud, mortgage income document fraud side of that book had lower defaults than the totally honest side.
I believe it. So
we're talking about like 1,000 people here. Okay?
So what happens to Mr. Consumer when he's caught providing fake documents?
So the people who do the providing?
No, the person who accepted it, the buyer of the house, or accepted the fake documents.
The person who used fake mortgage documents to get the mortgage. What happens when they're discovered?
Yes.
They don't get renewed.
Can they do other lenders? Are they aware that they did this?
That's a privacy violation.
Really?
Now, don't get me wrong. There is a amongst the banks, they can put it into a file.
Yeah.
They can flag it so that if other people are interested, but at the end of the day, the 5 years later when the renewal comes up, they're tossed. They may have all legitimate jobs now. I mean, the income may work.
They're just accepted. That's a little crazy.
But it just is. It just is. Okay.
Well, stranger things happen, I guess.
Here's what it really boils down to. If the people who got their mortgage through fraud, income fraud, by the way, here's the other real troubling thing with this. When you point out to the consumer who got his mortgage through fraud, the borrower got his mortgage through fraud, they will inevitably blame the realtor and the mortgage person. Okay. I didn't know. I just didn't know. I am so shocked. Are you telling me they did that? Oh my God.
Well,
okay.
Maybe in some cases they don't know.
Yeah, I think mostly they know. Okay.
Yeah?
But I would also suggest to you that a handful might not know. But I suggest to you, everybody's wondering why they paid that 1% of the mortgage, right? Like, well, what's that for? I mean, this is, and by the way, most of them are with banks. So why am I paying you this in a brown bag of cash? Like, why is that happening? So
no trail, no money trail.
So, look, but most of those people paid perfectly. They did not have, they were not defaulters. And at the end of 5 years, they figured something out. Some of them ended up having to go alternative, but they kept their house. They all kept their house. So now, what's the moral to all this? Because the cops won't pursue it because there's no financial loss to the mortgage company. Cops, everybody might say, "Oh, that's crazy, Ron. They uttered false." There's a separate crime you could conceivably charge them with. It's called uttering false documents. Okay, you might want to take a shot at that because I know there's people like screaming in the audience saying, "You're wrong. They could go after them. The cops could go after them." Okay. They don't. Look, they just don't, okay? They got a lot of other crime to handle. And again, prove the loss, even for uttering false documents. Well, okay, it's clearly, you're right. These documents are fake. Who lost money on this? What do you mean they paid perfectly? Okay, but no, there must be a loss somewhere. Tell me what the loss is. No loss. But they lied. Well, liar, liar, pants on fire is not against the law in Canada, okay? It's just not, all right? So... Anyway, cops won't pursue it. You will get in trouble with the bank who discovers it. 100% that you could lose. They could shut your checking account down. They could cut off all your credit cards. They could do, they're not happy. They're pissed off. I told you, banks hate this shit. Yeah. Okay, they hate it. All right. So does the mortgage broker get in trouble?
One would hope so.
Absolutely not.
Wow.
They will get cut off by lenders, but I frankly don't know of a mortgage broker the one who is proven to be the source of 85% of all of this big investigation that happened 6 years ago. She still has her license, still operating a brokerage in Scarborough. Okay.
Well, we've said it before. Both the mortgage industry and the real estate industry, as a whole, needs more accountability and, in my opinion, a harder education.
Agreed. Now I know this woman. I'll tell you one quick story because this woman is bold as brass. She goes to all the industry conventions. She goes to the Christmas parties.
Zero fucks given.
Zero fucks given.
Wow.
But not when I'm around.
No.
So there's this famous story that's known throughout the mortgage brokerage industry. It happened about 4 years ago before COVID at a Christmas party for one of the biggest appraisal companies in the country. So they're kind enough to ask me. They're kind enough to seat me at a nice table with a bunch of lenders, bankers, etc. And this woman shows up. And she comes up to the table. She shakes hands with one of the bankers. He stands up, shakes her hand, because she's bold as brass. Okay, shakes her hand, gives him a little hug, I think.
Jesus.
And he got fired. His ass got fired from that bank for being the chief operations guy who was in the midst of
for hugging her.
No, didn't get fired for hugging her. No,
okay.
He was at the bank where she did all the fraud, and he was the scapegoat and got fired. Okay. Shit. So he lost his job at the bank. He's banned from working for any financial institution again.
Wow.
And he comes up, she shakes his hand and
it's all good, buddy. Sorry.
Well, I think he was just shocked. I think he was just shocked. I think he was just shocked, really.
Yeah.
Okay. And a few years had gone by. But eventually, she's shaking hands with people around the table. Eventually, she comes to me and she offers her hand. I say, I will never shake your hand, you dirty, dirty bitch. You dirty, thieving, fraudster bitch. And everybody's looking around and two different tables like, do you hear what Butler said? He called her a fraudster bitch. Okay. Well, maybe I should be calling women bitches. I apologize to everybody out there who's offended by that.
Some of them deserve it.
Fuck this woman.
We don't use the what?
We don't use the see you next Tuesday word.
We do not.
You almost got me to say it. Oh my God. But I cursed her. Cursed her and I said, I wouldn't shake hands with you. You should be ashamed to be here. I was the only one in the room who said it. Okay. So that's my little claim to fame. Put a little pat my back a little bit, break my arm, pat my back. But it just infuriates me. Now, I've told you the whole story of it. We've told you how it develops. I told you how in some years, by the way, there's a lot less fraud last year than there was in 2021. When people are really, really excited about getting houses, the fraud rolls. Okay. When people don't like the rates and are, doesn't roll so hot. So there's a lot less this year and a lot less in 2022. But it's always there. It's always there somewhere. People are trying to. By the way, there was a big thing in that I didn't. The only thing I really, really didn't like about the marketplace thing was that they focused exclusively on one ethnicity, like 100% only one ethnicity. Okay.
Oh, on the you're talking the
on that program, on that TV show,
the
Marketplace, CBC Marketplace, yeah. exclusively one ethnicity. And what pissed me off about that.
Well, I think they just went area, and that's what.
Well, they took they went to an area, they took the low hanging fruit. Okay. Like it's just because it was easy. But here's what I'm going to tell you. I've had every ethnicity do fraud.
Oh, sure.
And I've seen the whitest white bread Canadian sons of bitches, like 10th generation Canadians, do fraud. Okay. Doing
sure.
document fraud. So I didn't like that ethnicity part of the whole thing. Like it was really focused. Okay. All right. So to close off on this, why do I hate it so much? Because I've just told you that there's hardly any losses from it, right?
Yeah.
So why do I hate it so much? And here's why I hate it. And I really, really do hate it. It all is part and parcel of how soft we are in Canada on white-collar crime. There's so many instances I could bring up. I could bring up those rat bastards at Fortress Development who are, they went uncharged after stealing $400 million from people, went uncharged for and some of the rat bastards who were associated with them got still working in the real estate industry today. The Sharps at Bridging Financial, they just stole $300-400 million, blew the company apart, butchered investors. It's a long goddamn list of white-collar crime in Canada. Mm-hmm. And our government, both on the provincial, federal level, but particularly federal, is so fucking soft on white-collar crime. And why I hate it so goddamn much is that it makes people think it's okay. Like the thing about being soft on crime is if you don't go out and catch them, prosecute them, put them in jail, it means that the next guy thinks it's not a bad idea. Mm-hmm. So that's why I hate mortgage document fraud so much, because I know, and you know, of home buyers who won't do it, don't have access to it, don't even know how to start, and wouldn't do it anyway, who can't buy homes.
Yeah.
Or pay a rate that's 40-50% higher in order to get a house. Okay. I hate the unfairness. Yeah. I mean, fuck the unfairness of it.
Let's be on the same playing field here. It's crazy.
That's all we're asking for. Mm-hmm. Everybody equal.
Yeah.
That's what pisses me off about it. It's that becomes a culture of lies. Yeah. A culture that's unfair, that the honest people see no benefit from being honest. And that's a goddamn bad thing. Mm-hmm. Now let's finish off with the whole how to fix it. Mm. Because is the most shocking part is it's so fucking easy to fix. It's effortless to fix.
Start taking away licenses.
No, don't even have to do that. No? I can fix it without that. I can fix it 100%. I can shut it down so it'll never happen again. Not me personally, but all it takes, it's this simple. Mm-hmm. It's the linkage between big banks, big financial institutions who do all these mortgages, and all the different lenders who are federally licensed or provincially licensed, who do all these mortgages, to have linkage to CRA. Because the one thing you can't fake is if you ask CRA, hey, I got a T1 General here, and on the T1 General, I'll give you the social insurance number, the name, and the address. That's in the system. The T1 General says these people make $183,400.
This is true.
And it shows up in line 15,000. It's just a number that appears in line 15,000 on every single T1 General in Canada. Mm-hmm. All that has to happen is the bank sends that one number, the people's social insurance number, their name, and that one number, that appears on line 15,000, to CRA, fully computerized. The CRA computer just sends back
a yes or a no.
Yes or no. Green light, stop light. Yeah. That's it. That's all it is. Green light, red light. That's it. We're not going to even talk about what the real number is.
Yeah.
We're just going to say this one is a stop sign.
Yeah.
Okay. And by the way, because you know what? CRA says they don't want to do it. You know why they say they don't want to do it? Privacy matters. We can't do it because we can't violate the privacy. Holy shit. What a bunch of bullshit. Okay. That is so fucking stupid. The customer gives you, after they sign a release, they give the lender
permission to do so.
And give the lender the fucking document itself. The lender's got the document. How the lender get the document? Okay?
We can pull the credit.
Yeah, all that stuff. So it's not privacy. We don't need to know anything about their income tax. We don't want to see their income tax forms. We don't want to know anything about it.
We don't care how many steak dinners they wrote off.
We don't care. We don't want to know a single thing about the person. With one exception.
One
line 15,000.
I agree.
$246.18, true or false.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And they gave us the document themselves and they signed a waiver already.
Yeah.
So CRA, Department of Finance, Krista Freeland, whoever the hell the revenue minister is.
And the fraud.
Wake the fuck up. End the fraud. Oh, it'll be costly. Fuck you. You spent like $100 jillion on a fucking app for COVID that didn't even work.
Arrive can.
Yeah, Arrive can. You spent like $1 billion on Arrive can. It barely fucking worked. You spend like $2 million to solve all the mortgage document fraud in Canada.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Do it.
Yeah.
Just fucking do it. Okay? Yeah. Enough of this bullshit. Krista Freeland, whoever the hell is the Minister of Revenue, all you people. Hey, Peter Rutledge, shout out to Peter Rutledge at the Office of the Superintendent of Financial Institutions. If you're trying to protect the bank, protect them from fraud, for fuck's sakes.
There you go.
Protect them from document fraud. All you guys, get together. Spend the $2 million. Banks will build the bridges on their own end at their own expense. Just fucking do it. End mortgage document fraud now. It's fucking easy. Just do it.
It is.
Okay, I did get my blood pressure. Was I angry enough?
I think that's the angriest one yet.
Excellent. Because I am fucking angry about these sons of bitches. You know what? Set aside the fraud. There's a solution, and the fuckers won't do it. By the way, you want to know the capper on this that I forgot? But I'm going to throw it in right now, and it makes me even madder. You know how long the IRS has been confirming this stuff? The same identical thing for U.S. mortgage lenders? 18 fucking years.
Oh,
okay?
Wow. Okay.
They've had this in the U.S. for 18 years. There's no mortgage document fraud in the U.S. Fuck all, nothing. Okay? Because it's a perfect system. It's a perfect solution. Mm-hmm. And all you guys, Peter Rutledge, Krista Freeland, whoever runs this revenue ministry for CRA, whoever's the boss of CRA, smarten the fuck up. Fix mortgage fraud now.
All right.
Peace out.
If you like the pod, well, don't just sit there. Go to YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and all the other ones and like the pod. And don't forget to subscribe so we can keep being angry at mortgages and swearing about mortgages. Angry Mortgage could use your support.